Hello, my friend. Imagine, for a moment, having millions of dollars in your bank account. What would you buy? A garage full of sports cars? A grand mansion? For many, wealth is loud. It wears diamond watches and drives fast Ferraris. But picture this. One of the highest-paid football players in the world, a champion of Europe, steps off a bus holding a smartphone with a deeply cracked screen. People mocked him. They asked, "Why do you not just buy a new one?" His name is Sadio Mané. In a sport often obsessed with glamour, he walks quietly. He does not play just to lift golden trophies. He plays to heal a wound that opened when he was just 7 years old. Tonight, let us leave the bright lights of the stadiums. Let us journey to a small, quiet village in Senegal, where a little boy made a promise that would change thousands of lives. Welcome to VitaCast. Far away from the glittering cities of Europe, deep in the southern region of Senegal, lies a village called Bambali. It is a place where the roads are made of red dust. In Bambali, poverty was not just a word, it was the air everyone breathed. For the children here, there were no fancy toys. There was only the open space and the dream of football. They played barefoot with whatever they could find, a grapefruit or a ball made of rolled-up rags. Among these children was a boy named Sadio. When Sadio was just 7 years old, a quiet tragedy struck his home. His father, a respected man in the village, suddenly fell severely ill. In a wealthy city, an ambulance would have arrived in minutes. But Bambali had no hospital. It did not even have a simple medical clinic. His family desperately tried to heal him, using traditional medicine, hoping for a miracle. Because there was no proper doctor to treat him, his father passed away. For a 7-year-old boy, the pain of losing a father is unimaginable. But what haunted Sadio even more was the reason why. His father did not die because his illness was incurable. He died because his village was simply too poor to save him. In the silence of his grief, a fire was lit inside the little boy's heart. He realized that to save his family and to ensure no one else in his village would suffer the same fate, he had to succeed, and his only way out of the dust was football. However, his family strictly forbade him from playing, urging him to focus on farming. They called football a foolish dream. But the dream inside Sadio was too loud to be silenced. At 15, he made a decision that terrified him. He packed a small bag, borrowed some money, and ran away from home in the middle of the night. His destination was Dakar, the capital city, to attend a football trial. When Sadio arrived, the scene was intimidating. Hundreds of boys wore shiny new boots and proper kits. Sadio stood there in a pair of boots so old and torn that they were tied together with wire. An older coach walked up to him, looked him up and down, and laughed. "Are you really here for the trial?" the coach asked mockingly. "With those boots? How can you play?" Sadio did not lower his eyes. He did not let the shame break him. He simply said, "They are the best I have. Just let me play, and you will see." The moment he stepped onto the pitch, the laughter completely stopped. He played with a desperate, beautiful hunger, running faster than anyone else. By the end of the match, the same coach approached him, amazed. "I am taking you," he said. The boy from Bambali had taken his first step. Leaving Dakar, Sadio Mané found himself on an airplane for the very first time. His destination was France. He had signed with a club called Metz. To the outside world, he had made it. He was a professional footballer in Europe, but the reality was far colder than his dreams. Leaving Senegal meant leaving behind everything he knew, his mother, his language, and the warm sun of his homeland. He arrived in a strange country where he did not speak a word of French. The winter cold bit through his skin. In Bambali, people lived closely together, their lives intertwined. In France, Sadio experienced an overwhelming, quiet isolation. He lived alone in a small room, spending his evenings missing the sounds and the food of his village. But physical loneliness was not his biggest struggle. Shortly after arriving in France, Sadio suffered a serious injury. His pelvic bone was severely damaged. The pain was excruciating, making every movement agony. For a young player newly arrived in Europe, an injury like this could mean the end of his career before it had even begun. If the club discovered how bad it was, they might tear up his contract and send him back to Senegal. Fear gripped his heart. Returning to Bambali as a failure was not an option. He could not go back empty-handed. So, Sadio made a dangerous decision. He hid the pain. Every day, he wrapped his injury tightly, laced up his boots, and forced himself onto the training pitch. He gritted his teeth through the agony, running and kicking, while his body screamed for rest. No one knew the silent torture he was enduring. He played through the pain simply because he had to. His perseverance eventually paid off, but it required immense sacrifice. He endured surgery and long months of rehabilitation, but when he finally stepped back onto the pitch, nothing could hold him back. His speed was terrifying, his finishing was clinical. He moved from France to Austria to play for Red Bull Salzburg, and then to England with Southampton. Soon, the biggest clubs in the world took notice. He arrived at Liverpool, where he transformed from a promising talent into a global superstar. He won the Premier League, ending Liverpool's 30-year wait. He won the Champions League, conquering Europe. He moved to Bayern Munich, cementing his status among the elite, and eventually, he won the African Cup of Nations for his beloved Senegal, securing his place as a national hero. From a boy hiding a broken body in a cold French room, he had become one of the most recognizable athletes on the planet. His weekly salary was now in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. He had reached the absolute peak of the mountain. Yet, the higher he climbed, the more he looked back down. He never forgot the cold nights. He never forgot the torn boots. And most importantly, he never forgot the dust of Bambali. Let us return to the image from the beginning of our story, the cracked smartphone in the hands of a multimillionaire. When the photo of that broken screen went viral, the internet was confused. Why does a man earning hundreds of thousands of dollars a week carry a damaged device? When a journalist asked about his modest lifestyle, Sadio Mané gave an answer that silenced the sporting world. "Why would I want 10 Ferraris, 20 diamond watches, or 2 planes?" he asked. "What will these objects do for me and for the world? I was hungry, and I had to work in the field. I survived hard times, played football barefooted, and I did not have an education. But today, with what I earn thanks to football, I can help my people." He did not just speak these words, he lived them. Mané took his fortune and brought it back to the red dust of Bambali. He remembered the tragic death of his father. So, he built a fully equipped public hospital. Because of him, no child in that village will ever have to lose a parent simply because there is no doctor. He remembered his lack of education, so he built a modern school, providing free laptops and uniforms. He brought high-speed 4G internet to the region and provides a monthly stipend to families in his desperately poor neighborhood to help them buy food. But perhaps the most profound reflection of his character is not found in the millions he spent, but in what he did when he thought nobody was watching. Hours after a massive Premier League victory, while other stars celebrated in exclusive VIP clubs, a shaky video surfaced online. Recorded at a local mosque in Liverpool, it showed Sadio Mané, the champion of Europe, holding a water hose and a brush, quietly scrubbing the public toilets. The superstar, kneeling on the wet floor, washing the tiles in silence. He had reached the absolute pinnacle of success, yet his ego remained untouched. He understood that true greatness is not measured by the luxury cars parked in your garage, but by the burdens you carry for others. Sadio Mané conquered the football world not to escape his painful past, but to return and heal it. He became a millionaire, so his people would never know the poverty that once broke his heart. My friend, Sadio Mané's story reminds us of a beautiful truth. The greatest legacy we leave behind is not measured by the wealth we accumulate, but by the lives we touch. He showed us that you can hold the world in your hands, yet still keep your feet firmly on the ground. Perhaps we cannot all build hospitals or schools, but we can all build kindness. We can all offer a helping hand, a listening ear, or a warm smile to someone who is struggling in the dark. Before you go, I would love to know your thoughts. Which part of Sadio's journey moved you the most? Was it his courage to leave home, or his quiet humility as a champion? Share it in the comments below. I read every single one. Thank you for spending this quiet time with me here at VitaCast. Until we meet again, remember, no matter what happens, take care of yourself.